All right, Showboating Sports, guys. We are back in the building. So, like I said, we're back in the building. Let me go and get this thing together real quick. We're gonna talk tonight about Keith Thurman and Tim Tszyu. Is it a cash grab or what is it with Tim Tszyu and Keith Thurman? Is Keith Thurman in it for the long haul, or is Keith Thurman really ready to retire? I don't know what it is, but we're gonna talk about that tonight. But if you're new to the channel, please like, subscribe, and share. Be a part of the Showboating Sports team, and we would appreciate it. But without any further ado, we're gonna go ahead and talk about this for a little bit, and I ain't gonna hold you guys up too long tonight. So, like I said, Keith Thurman is taking on a fight as he's been on a hiatus again. You know how Keith Thurman does. He actually was waiting around for Earl Spence Jr. and he didn't get that fight. So we kind of knew that Keith Thurman wasn't going to get that fight. You know what I'm saying? And we also knew that Earl Spence had said a long time ago that he wasn't going to fight Keith Thurman. He said that numerous of times, but Keith Thurman was hell bent on trying to fight Earl Spence. Now, this is the thing with Keith Thurman, and I've said this plenty of times before, is that Keith Thurman tears. I wish I could make a soup out of those tears. You know what I'm saying? I really do wish I could. But at the end of the day, Keith Thurman was in the best position where he could have fought those guys. Keith Thurman thought that he would dodge Earl Spence Jr. He thought he would dodge Terrence Crawford and all the rest of those guys. Huck Mode 365. Salute, salute. What's up? What's up with you, man? Yeah, man. We talking about this Keith Thurman thing tonight. And we want to get your thoughts too on, do you think Keith Thurman is taking a cash grab, or do you think he's really wanting to make a comeback and try to make a statement about himself? So we're going to keep on going with that. But like I said, Keith Thurman, he chose to dodge Earl Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford. You know, he kept telling those guys, he told Earl Spence, hey, I first he acted like he didn't know who Terrence Crawford was, which we all know Keith Thurman knew who Terrence Crawford was. Hold on, y'all. My mic is acting up. There we go. So we all knew he knew who Terrence Crawford was and all those guys, but Keith Thurman was always playing those games. But see, Keith Thurman chose to go to Nepal. He chose to sit around and play with a flute. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, let me get this thing straight. Hold on. These chords and stuff, the way they sitting in there and they're pulling and stuff. Anyway, but like I said, Keith Thurman knew exactly what Keith Thurman was doing. Hold on, let's see who else is rolled up in the building. Huck Mo said Keith Thurman is a ducker, but that press conference was entertaining. It was. Listen, Keith Thurman can definitely sell a fight. We know that. There's no problem with Keith Thurman selling the fight. He has that gift of gab. You know what I'm saying? So Keith has always had it. He's just like Adrian Broner. Those guys can sell a fight. But this is the thing, is that when Keith was in position to fight everybody, Keith chose not to. Keith chose to go to Nepal, sit down, play his flute, Indian style, you know what I mean, with his legs crossed and having fun with his hair and chasing women and all that, and talking about how injured he was, right? But what's funny is when he had shit. Hold on, shoot. I think it's the edge of this cord, man. It's the edge of this cord. Hold on, let me get this freaking thing together. All right, there we go. See, Keith Thurman, Keith Thurman could have made sure he fought those guys. He really could have, but he didn't choose to. He wanted to make sure that he kept chasing women. And just like I said with Manny Pacquiao, when Manny Pacquiao wanted to make that fight, Keith Thurman made sure he came out, fought Manny Pacquiao. And one thing too that I got something I want to pick with Keith Thurman, a bone to pick with Keith Thurman. The night before the Pacquiao fight, Keith Thurman was down in the lobby gambling. How are you going to take Manny Pacquiao serious if you down there gambling? You know what I'm saying? I didn't know there were Mexicans in Australia. Boy, that Keith Thurman. Hey, Keith Thurman, listen. Keith Thurman knows what sells a fight, bro. He knows it. And he's what Keith Thurman's trying to do is he's trying to, because he know black and Mexican is a big rivalry. He's trying to do like what Floyd Mayweather did. Floyd Mayweather made sure he fought on Cinco de Mayo. He made sure he kept picking Mexicans because he wanted to make sure that those stadiums we packed. You know what I'm saying? So Keith Thurman's trying to ride off of that. You know what I mean? Keith Thurman and that gift of gab that Keith Thurman has is pretty good. But Huck Mo, let me ask you guys this. Let me ask you this. Do you think Keith Thurman is serious about this fight, or do you think Keith Thurman is doing a cash grab? See, I'm on the fence about that. And the reason why I say I'm on the fence about that is because Keith Thurman keeps saying he wants the biggest fights, right? He could have chose Jaron Ennis. You know what I'm saying? You want the big fights, man. You can choose these guys with these big names. And Jaron Ennis has a belt, you know. Jaron Ennis at 147. So why didn't Keith Thurman choose to press that one? You know what I'm saying? So Keith Thurman knows what he's doing, you know. But the thing, like I said before, is I have a bone to pick with Keith Thurman because when he was fighting Manny Pacquiao, he was downstairs gambling and all that kind of stuff when he could have been doing what he needed to do. And he didn't do it. He dropped the ball. Payday, Keith Thurman for sure. Yeah, I'm starting to think that too. But one thing I can't take away from Keith Thurman is that he is a seasoned vet. The guy knows his way around the ring. And if he beats Tim Tszyu, then he will live to fight another day and get another payday. I think Keith Thurman is wanting some good paydays on his way out the door. I think he would like a couple of shots to see what he can do. But I don't really know if boxing is still in Keith Thurman's heart like it used to be. I question that. I have a real big question. Does Keith Thurman really want to box again, or does Keith Thurman really want money on his way out the door? You know what I'm saying? So that's always the elephant in the room for me. But another thing about that is that I would pick Keith Thurman to beat Tim Tszyu if Keith Thurman didn't have a layoff. That layoff scares me with Keith Thurman because I don't care who you are, you have ring rust. The only people that I saw that had ring rust and got past the ring rust from a long layoff was Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather he retired, came back out of retirement, went back in and fought, and you didn't really see any ring rust on Floyd Mayweather, which I thought was pretty cool. You know what I mean? Not everybody can do it. I know Earl Spence tried to say, hey, I don't need a tune-up. I let the fighter be a tune-up, but fighters need a tune-up. You know what I'm saying? Fighters need it. And even Terrence Crawford showed you that because in the time he was supposed to go fight Earl Spence, what did he do? He took a tune-up fight in between time. Now, he said it was all about the payday and this and that. Terrence Crawford knows what he's doing. He wanted to get another fight in. He knew Spence was going to sit there and be cold. So what Terrence Crawford did was he took on another fight, and that was kind of to brush up on his skills too. You know what I mean? And Earl Spence keeps taking all this time off due to injuries and all this other stuff, but it's still inactivity and it still affects you inside the ring. You know, you saw when Earl Spence fought Ugas, when he went in that fight with Ugas, he was a little bit anxious in the very beginning. Ugas came out and Ugas landed some things that he should not have landed in the very beginning. But I think Derek James kept talking to Earl Spence, had him calm down. Earl Spence then finally started boxing like the old Earl Spence. But it took a few rounds to come out of that, you know? And it happens to all fighters. He said an inactive Keith Thurman would still get smashed by Tim Tszyu. An active Keith Thurman would get still smashed by Tim Tszyu. I don't know if he's gonna get smoked by Tim Tszyu, man. Come on, man. This is Thurman, man. You know, listen, Hulk. Keith Thurman has been one of those fighters. He has fought for years. He was at the top of the division. Keith Thurman, really, man, really give Keith Thurman his credit. It's kind of like how Peyton Manning in football was an on-field coach. You know what I'm saying? Keith Thurman's boxing knowledge is a lot more advanced than a lot of other fighters. You know, it really is. Keith Thurman can break down a fight. He actually can get in there and do those things that he say. You know what I mean? I think one of Keith Thurman's flaws that he's always had is that he's not good to the body. For some reason, you hit Keith Thurman on that side of the body, I mean, he's going to get up and run. But the thing about it is Keith Thurman knows how to survive. One more thing you got to remember too. Keith Thurman has some good power. Keith Thurman got some power in his punch, you know, and that was another thing I was going to say is that when he came back, he fought Pacquiao. Right after the Pacquiao fight, he went ahead and not too long after that now, he went and had his surgeries and stuff done. And he had the elbow fixed, he had his hand fixed, and that gave him a little bit more time off. And then he came back and he fought he fought Josecito Lopez, I think was before Pacquiao. After Pacquiao, he went and fought was it Mario Barrios? He fought Mario Barrios. But at the end of the day, Keith Thurman packs a punch. He said he has his hand fixed. But I just say that the two things that I take away from Keith Thurman is his inactivity and does he still have boxing deep in his heart? Is he there for a payday or does he really want to make it back to the top? I know Keith Thurman talks a lot, and that's good, just same way that Adrian Broner does a lot of talking. But is it really in Keith Thurman's heart? Because now, as far as skills, I know Keith Thurman, he may be able to jazz himself around the ring because he does have foot movement. He does. Said Thurman can pop, but Tim Tszyu is a whole other beast. Are you really sold on Tim Tszyu like that? Listen, listen. Let me say this. This is one of the problems that I have about boxing is because I did a video earlier today and I was talking about is Ryan Garcia ready for Devin Haney? And I'm saying right now today, Ryan Garcia is not ready for Devin Haney. Ryan Garcia needs to have 2 more tune-up fights. But the problem is we keep letting these fights marinate too long. So I do understand it. And I think these guys need to fight. But I think Ryan should have fought Devin Haney a few years ago before Devin Haney fought Jojo Diaz. But you guys go check that video out. I went into a little bit more on what my thoughts was on that. But I'll come back to say this too, is that a fighter yesterday might not be the same fighter today. And I say that about Keith Thurman. I say that about everybody else, right? I like Tim Tszyu, right? I do not think that Tim Tszyu could beat Jermell Charlo. I don't think he beat Tony Harrison when Tony Harrison beat Jermell Charlo, which I had Jermell Charlo winning on that one, right? I did not think he would beat them. I don't think Tim Tszyu beats Brian Castano. I don't think Tim Tszyu beats him, right? But after these guys had wars and inactivity, then I can't sit here and really argue that fact. You know what I'm saying? Because when fighters take layoffs, fighters take, so much stuff goes on. They're not the same fighter. The same way with Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr., right? I think if we got the Errol Spence Jr. that fought Ugas or the Errol Spence Jr. that fought Sean, well, I was going to say Sean Porter, but that wasn't his best performance. But the one thing about it is he fought Sean in Sean Porter's style, trying to prove a point. But I think if you got the Errol Spence that was with Ugas or the Errol Spence when he was trained by Blu-ray, getting in shape by Blu-ray, I would pick Errol Spence, to do a whole lot better against Terrence Crawford. But you get Errol Spence after a whole nother year. You get Jermell. I mean, you get these fighters that are not the same fighter. You know what I mean? Oh, case in point. Only person who can beat Tim Tszyu right now is Terrence Crawford. Maybe I can't take that away from him because I can't say I was not impressed by Jermell Charlo, his last fight with Canelo. I think it sucks. I don't know what's going on with the Charlos, this mental situation, but I'm going to say this. David Benavidez is a better version of David Benavidez now than he was when he was failing he failed his drug tests because he had drugs in the system, and he also lost his belt on the scale when he wasn't taking it serious. Right now, he's a polished up fighter. He's a lot better than he's ever been. This is the best version of Jermell Charlo. Not Jermell Charlo, I'm sorry, of David Benavidez. This right here is the best version of David Benavidez, right? Wouldn't you agree? Okay, so this David Benavidez right here beats Plant, hands down. But if you take Plant and he fights the David Benavidez that fought Anthony Durrell a few years ago, I say Plant would have beat him. I think Plant would have beat David Benavidez back then, right? But now David Benavidez, he's taking everything serious. He's polished. He's not taking time off, and he's a different fighter. So I say that a fighter can change and be better, and a fighter can change to be worse, right? Jermell Charlo. I had Jermell Charlo. I knew Jermell Charlo should beat Jose Benavidez, right? But if it was the old Jermell Charlo, I think he would have stopped Jose Benavidez round 5. This Jose Benavidez that fought Jermell Charlo and fought Danny Garcia is a better version of himself than when he fought with Crawford. When he fought with Crawford, he came out. That's when he was more fresh on the leg injury. Not saying he would beat Crawford. Crawford still was going to stop him. You know what I mean? I think Crawford had no problem stopping Jose Benavidez at all. But I think that this Jose Benavidez is not the best, is the better version of Jose Benavidez. You know what I mean? This isn't would've, could've, should've. All right. Listen. I gotta give you that, bro. I do. I gotta give you that. It ain't coulda, woulda, shoulda. We gotta go with what we rocking with right now. So I gotta highlight that and put that on the screen. We gotta rock with what we got right now. So I agree. I agree with that. That we can't talk about coulda, woulda, shoulda. We got to talk about what's right now, what's on the table right now. And what's on the table right now is this Keith Thurman. Will this Keith Thurman beat Tim Tszyu? I don't know. The only thing that I can say is that I'm just not 100% sold on Tim Tszyu. I don't think that I've seen the best version of anybody to put Tim Tszyu to the test. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't think Tim Tszyu beats Brian Castano. I don't think he beats Jermell Charlo. I don't think he beats Keith Thurman. I don't see all of that in him. I don't. But we'll see. I just think Keith Thurman has good footwork. That one thing that I know that ring rust won't hurt is it Keith Thurman's feet. Keith Thurman has real good feet, and Keith Thurman will get on his bicycle and run. And I don't think Tim Tszyu would be able to get Keith Thurman because Keith Thurman's going to get on that bike, bro. Listen, I say Keith Thurman's going to win this fight. And I say it because of his movement in the ring. Keith Thurman's not going to sit there and bang with Tim Tszyu. It's not going to happen. He know he can't do it. So right now, he's going to get on his bicycle. He is hopefully the Keith Thurman will get in shape and come out, hopefully that. So that's why I say I think Keith Thurman will beat Tim Tszyu, and I think Keith Thurman don't want to get beat by Tim Tszyu. So I think he's going to take this one serious and really bring the noise, because Tim Tszyu ain't the bigger name that he really wants to dodge, I mean, not dodge, but he wants to get beat by, you know what I mean? I think with Terrence Crawford, he'll step up to it, but he's okay with that. I think he's going to give it his all and then some, just not. I think his pride is I think that his spirit won't get broken in there with Tim Tszyu. I don't think Tim Tszyu got enough to chase Keith Thurman down for 12 rounds and stop him. Because Keith Thurman is the biggest person of, Sean Porter said it best. Keith Thurman is going to get ahead on scorecards, and he's going to say, catch me if you can. And that's the way Keith Thurman fights. He's got a good jab. Keith Thurman's got a jab. Tim Tszyu ain't going to just keep running into that at all. He's just not. He might run in there a little bit, but he's going, after Keith tags him a little bit, he'll stop. He'll back up a little bit, and Keith Thurman's going to get on that bike. Keith Thurman knows he can't slug with him. He's too big. He's too comfortable in that weight class. Tim Tszyu is. I mean, he can't bully Tim Tszyu. He knows he can't go in there and do that. So what is he going to do? He's going to come in. I'm going to do more of a fight breakdown with that, but I don't know. I'm just hoping, and I'm hoping Keith Thurman does not use this as a cash grab. I hope this is a really good fight. I do. I hope that if Tim Tszyu beats Keith Thurman, I hope Tim Tszyu gets all the credit, because I hope that Keith Thurman puts on a good enough performance to where we won't be using no excuses. You know what I mean? Which we can't really use excuses anyway, because Keith Thurman went and climbed in the ring. He asked for this, and he's in there to fight. He could have took a different fight at 147, but he chose to go in there and fight. So at the end of the day, Tim Tszyu beats Keith Thurman. I give him full credit. But we can't not talk about the elephant in the room, which is inactivity with any of these fighters, with any fighter out there. I don't care if it's Canelo. I don't care if it's David Benavidez. If they take a little bit of time off, it's going to be ring rust. It's only very few fighters that can get around that, like Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury can get around it. Tyson Fury, I mean, the way he fights, the way he does, I mean, it doesn't really affect him, because Tyson Fury is just, he's not this typical boxer. I mean, Tyson Fury comes in there with like a tire around his waist from all that fat and being out of shape and drinking and doing whatever else he does in his off time, and he still makes it the whole fight. It's the same thing with Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz sat around eating candy bars and drinking sodas and everything else, and was in shape enough to go beat these other guys. Now that he's trying to take it more serious and getting in better shape, it seems like he's getting further out of shape. It seems like the more he trains, the more tired he gets in the ring. I liked Andy Ruiz more. I liked him better when he was more fat and out of shape. I do. I like him better then than I do now. I don't know what it is about a fighter. Certain fighters got to stick to what brought them to the party, and Tyson Fury sticks to his. Andy Ruiz should go back to the old Andy Ruiz. I'd love to see him eat Snickers and stuff, Because like I said, once he was in shape, I wasn't impressed when he fought King Kong Ortiz. I wasn't impressed with that. And King Kong Ortiz, I wasn't impressed with his either. He got tired too. So I just really wasn't impressed with that. I like the old Andy Ruiz, you know? And I also, like I said, I like Tim Tszyu, but like I said, I'm not totally impressed. I haven't seen anything really impressive by Tim Tszyu. That's just my thoughts. Maybe he'll impress me this time. Maybe I'll be a Tim Tszyu fan. You know, I like him. I'm just not sold in that he's that guy. I'm not sold in that he's that guy. I just don't see him beating Brian Castano or Jermell Charlo, the old Jermell Charlo. I'm disgusted with the new Jermell Charlo. After this fight with Canelo, man, I just lost a lot for Jermell Charlo. A lot of respect for that. I lost a lot of respect for Jermell Charlo. I know these guys are going through stuff mentally, but like I said, I lost a lot of respect for that guy. Because he didn't give it his all. You know what I mean? I got to call it like I see it, you know? I would like to see them go out on his shield like how Earl Spence went on his, you know? Even if you're going to lose Canelo, you still got to go in there and put forth the effort. You try to survive the whole fight, and I can't give him anything on that. You know what I mean? Because you called Canelo out. You know, you should have never called Canelo out. He called Canelo out for years. Come on, let's fight. You know, he talked all this big stuff, and then he got in there and didn't do nothing. He folded. He didn't even try. That was one of Canelo's easiest fights. I did not see him put up a fight better than anybody. You know, I just didn't see it. That was one of I don't even want to talk about that one, man. I still haven't recovered from that. You know what I mean? But at least with Earl Spence, I can say the dude went out on his shield. You know what I'm saying? I see some fighters that go out on their shield, and he just wasn't one of those fighters, man. I don't think he quit. I just think he played it safe through the whole fight. And I don't like, you know what I mean? I don't like, you know, I still haven't dealt with that totally. You know what I mean? I just thought that dude was a real lion. I just really did. But we're not talking about that tonight. We're still talking about Keith Thurman. Like I said, I like Keith Thurman. I like Keith Thurman as far as a boxer. I don't like how he dodged Earl and Terrence Crawford. And I just don't think fighting is in his heart. I don't. But I think if the fighting is in his heart, I think that he's going to bring on a really good fight. You know, that's my thoughts on the whole situation. Anyway, guys, I wanted to get on tonight. I want to talk a little bit about that, man. I appreciate everybody that came in. That's just my thoughts. I just feel good to be back in here. I got to get back in the ring myself. I got to get back in this Showboating Sports ring and stuff. But anyway, guys, like I said, that's straight up no chaser. Thank you guys for coming back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, please like, subscribe, and share. Hit the notification bell icon at the top of your screen, wherever it is, and join the team. And until next time, guys, peace. I'm out. Y'all have a good night. Talk to you guys later.